All right, people, no intro, no nothing. We are back. I'm Tracy Gar, joined by my co-host Del Monte Blaze the Fox. What are we looking at here, Foxy? All right, Tracy. Well, we are here with Emerald versus Stefan. A very exciting game here. And you will notice right off at team preview, Emerald did not bring the Pincurchin. He's going to be counting on that Rillaboom to set up the grassy terrain for him in order to be able to activate his Unburden. And we can see on Stefan's side, he's really trying to go for those webs plus the sun with the roaring moon. Very interesting strategy. We're probably going to, of course, see the Ariados lead, but what are we going to see on Emerald's side? It's going to be the Toxtricity, in fact. And full disclosure, we've actually recorded this once already, but we actually ended up only recording the audio, not the visual, but we believe we've got that fixed now, and we should be good to go here. Hopefully, we're going to just do what we should have done the first time. Check after this recording and test that everything's looking okay, because we're also recording this directly on YouTube at 2x speed, so hopefully our recording equipment will be able to pick everything up. We do see the turn 1 Volt Switch out, the Shadow Sneak into the Toxtricity. Absolutely. Now this Toxtricity is Terra Normal, so if they would have perhaps Terastallized there, they wouldn't have taken any chip, and they would have forced this thing to become chip. They actually go on a Toad School. Very bad switch in for Emerald here. He's wanting to get his T-Spikes up, but at what cost? His Toad School is almost dead in one hit. Absolutely insane. Yeah, and you really want this as your rapid spinner because I don't believe that. No, wait, actually, no. Emerald has Toxtricity, so he can get rid of the T-Spikes in case Ariados sets him up. I'm not sure if he even has it. Of course, the Ariados can also switch out, come back in, and get rid of those T-Spikes. Otherwise, Torkoal would have to get poisoned in order to rapid spin them away. Gonna send in Alola. This Mon gets poisoned as Emerald's going for the rocks. Loves to get up his hazards, and he's getting more of them up. Absolutely. Anytime you can take a chip with rocks plus T-Spikes, especially when you got a Torkoal, if you can try to limit how much it's able to get up the sun, that'd be great. Heat Rock here, so they will be taking damage from Stealth Rocks. I'm going to double out here, not wanting to take any unnecessary chip on the Heat Train into a Scald. On the Deafen does get burned, but burn does not ultimately matter as it's still going to hit super duper hard. As now at this point, I don't think, let me take a look. We did take some notes on what Pokemon Stefan has, and I don't see a single ground type. So Emerald absolutely free to just continue to Volt Switch in and out here. Alola is getting chipped by the poison, but thanks to its regen, it can at least kind of mitigate it. But it does need to get out there pretty soon. Emerald's trying to figure out what they want to send in. There's not a whole lot that they necessarily want to. The Toad's really low. They end up going in Frostlass to try to take a little bit of chip. Actually, Psychic on the Alola, so close to dying. Almost dead. If it wasn't for regen, this thing was dead to rocks. But the pesky regen on the Alola. Looking at the ground Terra type Meloetta. The only way that they're going to have a ground type this game, they're actually going to go back out into the Ariados, which thanks to that Leech Life got it back to full. But now its Focus Sash is broken once again because of the Stealth Rocks. Spikes are going up now from Emerald as well. The T-Spikes have become absorbed. They still have Stealth Rocks plus Spikes. And if you can manage to keep getting up more, I mean, you can kill the Alola in theory on switch in. We're going to see what's going to happen here. The Ariados can, of course, continue to Shadow Sneak. Can also get up webs for Emerald that they'd have to try to get rid of. The Toad School is very low, so it'd be tough to remove them. Absolutely. So, if we're thinking about an endgame here, they've still got a lot of options on either side. Frostlass does go down. The Shadow Sneak is finally disabled. Make sure to take note of that because Emerald has forgotten several times whenever the moves, or he's been looking away when he's taking notes and he ignores the fact that a move was disabled. So Shadow Sneak is disabled here. Unfortunate for Toxtricity. They still don't Terra. They're just going to Volt Switch out as the Shadow Sneak is disabled. No need to reveal it yet. Even though this is the only Terra Captain, but you don't want to necessarily remove the poison typing until you're absolutely sure that the Ariados is gone. Because then if they get up T-Spikes, well, there's no way to remove them without something getting poisoned. So Tommy the Tomato comes out. Hard. Didn't even need a second to react. Hard Meloetta as to bring it in. they're pondering whether to go for the Terra Blast Ground or the Psychic now. Emerald probably should have seen this coming, as this is the Terra Captain. Goes for indeed Terra Blast Ground. Stefan thinking that Emerald might switch out here. Emerald is completely oblivious. Now he does have a Shuka Berry, so Emerald was probably fairly certain he could live a hit. Not from there though. After that chip, there's no way, no matter how much investment you have. And I believe this is actually a physically defensive H.I.M in order to account for the Roaring Moon. Lots of big offensive threats on Stefan's side. You've got the Rillaboom and the Roaring Moon, but you've also got some special attackers like Meloetta, who can easily go for the Terra Blast here into the Toadstool. Finally take out the Toadstool. That thing's gone. Frostlass is gone. I believe Ariados is the only one that's gone currently. Yep, but they do have the Lillie chip. Meloetta is chipped as well. Clearly screaming Choice Scarf Toxtricity here. There's no other reason to bring this in versus Meloetta, as they are finally going to reveal the Terra to try to do as much damage as possible to this Pokemon here. As there's the Punk Rock boosted Boom Burst, easily going to take out this Meloetta. So now at this point for Stefan, his Toxtricity is a threat. It is chipped, however. It is quite chipped. This Rillaboom, unfortunately, does not actually have Grassy Surge or Grassy Glide. So, it's going to take those hit the hazards. And then as soon as the grassy terrain is not seen, well, now Toxtricity can keep going for Boom Burst. If it did have Grassy Surge, Emerald could easily switch in the Grassy Seed Hawlucha. But instead, it's going to be Toxtricity's day to shine. A little bit of poetic irony here, as this was actually Stefan's Terra Captain in Season 1 of the BHDL, continues to Boom Burst. The title of this video was "He Used My Own Strategy Against Me," as we can see that now come to fruition here. And he's only got 2 Pokemon left, one of them being the Roaring Moon. He's got to try to get something going here. We'll see what we can happen here. This Toxtricity is Scarf, so if you can continue to, well, the Roaring Moon has the Photosynthesis speed boost though, so it's gonna outspeed. But you don't want to give an opportunity to Dragon Dance here. You want to give it a Boom Burst. Although Roaring Moon's attack is very high, but at least it did take some chip, as it reveals the leftovers to get a little bit of recovery back. But this, because the Roaring Moon is at neutral, and not only that, it's revealed to be Outrage. Not Outrage, it's revealed to be Dragon Claw, not Outrage. That means that the Lucha can now come in and just simply go for a nice little close combat here. I don't think there's any world where this thing kills unless it gets a crit. And we can see Roaring Moon goes down, and Hawlucha is still standing. As now, it's all coming down to the Alola Mola, which is almost dead to all of these hazards. As the simple close combat is going to be it for the game, and that's going to be GG's to Emerald and Stefan. Emerald absolutely needing this win to stay alive, and Stefan is also now really looking to get some more wins. 2 more games after this for both coaches, so they're going to have to do their best in order to make it to playoffs. Alright gang, audio and video, looks good on our end, so we're good to keep going. So next up, we have Brandon versus Raymon. These 2 coaches, of course, Raymon, the Pokemon Scholar. Oh, we've got some technical difficulties over here from Brandon, but Raymon is the Pokemon Scholar, and Brandon has been doing exceptionally well this season. We've got the Terra Bisharp and the Terra Crest that have absolutely been killing it for him, as we've also got great defensive mons like Clodsire, and as well as Frostmoth, Bulky, Setup with her Shifu. But we can't deny that Raymon's also been doing exceptionally well with powerful offensive attackers like Bax and Azu, and Azelf, as well as some cool mons like Salazzle and Probopass that were transactions from previously in the season. So, lead Cinderace versus the Azelf. We're very interested to see what's going to happen here. Potentially could see no Scarf. We're unsure what this Azelf is. I'm gonna see the I believe this is Life Orb Cinderace. Yep, into Pyro Ball going into the Azu. Just to get a nice little bit of chip. No burn, thankfully, for Raymon. As this Clodsire was basically designed to just completely wall Azumarill, but Raymon is no slouch. He knows that there's going to be the Clodsire with Water Absorb for this thing, so I assume... Oh, there's an Aqua Jet, actually. picking the safe mid ground. But I believe this Azu should have. Well, maybe they're not going to go for it right now. They don't have. They're not going to go for Ice Spinner potentially into this thing yet. Um, as Azelf comes in, goes for the yawn, so that means Azelf can't really stay in here. Gonna try to give them the, well, it looks like they might, or they might just U-turn. So, Bisharp comes in, as, yep, there's the U-turn out on the Bisharp. Don't want to let this thing set up for free here, absolutely not, as Nigel comes in, the Probopass, which is, oh, perfect for this thing, because it is, sorry, I'm blanking on the term right now, but the ability that traps you, Magnet Pull. Not only do they have, actually they didn't even bring Dugtrio. They've got their trapper right here, because it's not like Dugtrio can trap Cress. They've got stuff for that later, but for now, this Bisharp is trapped. I think they're thinking about what to switch, and they're going to realize, oh wait, I can't switch out. So then they've quickly got to go and SD up. Even though Raymon is about to show off their Terra here, Terra Ground, just to be able to ensure they don't get low kicked or anything like that. Bisharp goes to the SD, body press, one hit KOs Bisharp and absolutely destroys it. Even with that Violet, that 4 times, Probopass has a high defense stat, you know, and so with that high defense stat, with body press 4 times super effective, not even Bisharp can take it. So Raymon's figuring out what they want to do. That was one of their biggest attackers. Urshifu can always come in here, of course, but that does then let in the infamous Azu. So they've got to wonder, what are they going to do here? You could also, this, Urshifu actually goes for Trailblaze. I think going for a safe Aqua or Surging Strikes might have been better there, just to get the guaranteed damage off. But you are playing the dice whenever it comes to, yeah, because even then I don't think the Surging Strike. Oh, but the Scarf Azel for the Urshifu goes down. Well, that's 2 of Brandon's biggest offensive powerhouses gone. You are also playing dice when you're not using protective pads or punching glove versus Zapdos, because then that means that that static 30% chance on 3 hits. Oof, it's not looking good. Not looking too good for you, buddy. So Azu comes out now. He's gonna go for the Calm Mind here, as we have to wonder what this Azu is gonna do for it. Thinking about going for the T-Bolt. It's only +1. Crest does not have the highest special attack stat necessarily. It really needs at least 3 to 4 boost in order to do what it needs to do, though this thing does appear to be modest. Appears to really want to go for that T-Bolt. It's finally going to quick it, but Azu is Encore. Did not speed creep this Cresselia to outspeed this Azu, because Chris has a decent amount of speed, but the Azu's max speed, and you didn't put any speed investment into the Crest, and you're going to get Encore, buddy. So Salazzle now comes in, is stuck into the Calm Mind. No Mental Herb either. So he's forced to, yeah, he's leftovers, not even the Mental Herb, so he's forced to continue, as the Toxic is now going to come through. At least the Toxic will be slightly mitigated by the leftovers at first. We'll see. Is the Encore going to end? Yep, there's the Encore over. As not even going to look at how many stats he has. Just going to stored power right off the rip. As this is Subtoxic Salazzle, the classic set to try to mitigate all forms of setup like this Crest. So, at this point, this is pretty much just going to be, I believe, stored power until basically, I think Brandon wants to call it quits here. They're actually going to go for the Disable. Not only that, he's going to lure him into a false insecurity, and now he can't even go for that. I believe Disable was also used last week versus Dabest, if I'm not mistaken. Going to continue to go for the sub, forced to continue to Thunderbolt, although have a decent amount of boost. That's easily going to get rid of the sub at least. But in the meantime, he's continuing to get whittled down by the poison is the key thing. And there's no, really would have wished for that Lunar Blessing at this point to be able to cure it. That way, at least, the Salazzle will have to spend another turn going for Toxic. As, continues to get healed by the Black Sludge. Yeah, if they had Lunar Blessing, man, they could have Wait, well, at a certain point, yeah, they could have gotten back to full, and they would have had to spend another turn poisoning, because then they wouldn't be toxic anymore. And then that turn that you used to, you go for toxic on the crest, now you die to stored power, so they're forced to switch and have something else take it. So, very well played by Raymon getting those turns right. But Brandon really should have had the Lunar Blessing here, as we're still waiting on this Crest versus this Salazzle. We're at 2x speed. The move's no longer disabled, but you already know that something else is going to be disabled. And Brandon here at this point has probably just about had enough of this pesky Salazzle. Pretty low on HP after going for all those subs at least. So at least you don't have to worry about it as much. Sub-Toxic, Disable. There's the last move, Flamethrower. Gets the turn right. He knew that he was going to switch out, so we're going to get a little bit of chip on this Clodsire. However, not even the Clodsire is safe from the Toxic, as Salazzle's signature ability, the only one that gets it, if I'm not mistaken, is Corrosion, which is easily going to be able to whittle down this Clodsire over time. Quite unfortunate, and Clodsire can't even do it back. Now, at this point, the Salazzle is significantly chipped, so it cannot successfully wall this Clodsire. It does not have Protect. It can get some more chip on it, no doubt. It could probably go for a couple more substitutes in the meantime to get it more chipped. You may as well go for it. However, Clodsire will win the 1v1, but at what cost? And Raymon will most likely, in all likelihood, switch out here. The question is into what? They do have an Azelf, or a Zapdos as well, but you don't really want either of those getting poisoned necessarily. I think this set has both Yawn and Toxic. Wow, okay. Yep, gonna go for the Yawn, but the substitute. Now, if you think about it like this, Yawn, usually in order for a Yawn to be contagious, you have to see the person yawn. It doesn't really work if you just hear it. So I think that's the reason why Yawn is not able to go through the substitute, unfortunately. In the meantime, this Clodsire is at 50%. They have no choice but to try to heal up. Gonna go for the Flamethrower. Has a good amount of def, so it's able to tank it. But at the end of the day, it's been in so many turns. This Toxic might be doing almost 50%. Black Sludge gets it a little bit, but how much does this do? Okay, I guess it hasn't been that many turns yet. But you got it on the next one. And not even gonna go for Disable. Gonna continue to go for the Flamethrower. As goes for the Recover. Probably trying to cover in case they try to switch out here, as Brandon, stubborn as he is, continues to stay and keeps on getting poisoned. That's like a third. I think it was a quarter, and then it was a third, and now it's going to be the half. The big halvesies. So, this Clodsire is going to be nearly dead after this turn, and Raymon knows it. So, they go for the safe EQ, switch in on the Zapdos, and here we go, the big 50% on the Claude. Now, Claude's last... substitute again! Oh my goodness, you hate to see it for Brandon, but for Raymon, the sets are coming through. The sub-toxic, not even on one Pokemon. He's got multiple mons that can set up subs, and you just need one to poison them. So at this point, with Clodsire gone, that's pretty much all of Brandon's defensive backbone. He has a crest, but it's at half and it's poisoned. All that he has left to do is use Frostmoth, perhaps. But the Eerie Impulse, actually, I'm not sure if I've ever seen that be used in singles, primarily a doubles move. Something like, let's say, a Prankster Thunderous into a Contrary or an Amorous or something like that. In the meantime, though, they can continue to go for it. They're actually going to switch out here. Continue to go for Ice Beam, but against something like a Bax, it's not going to do all that much. And now the infamous Baxcalibur. It's going to get out some big hits, goes for the Glaive Rush. The Feather Dance isn't going to save it. It's too little too late for Frostmoth, as the Glaive Rush just instantly kills it. Now, because of the Glaive Rush, that does mean they're going to take 2 times the amount of damage on the next turn. So, should easily, it could die to a Sucker Punch here, honestly, if they think that they're Scarf. But it's probably not, based on the fact that it killed Frostmoth. It might be Banded or something like that. Did it show Life Orb? I think it might have shown some Life Orb, because I think Godzilla was at more HP, but either way. To figuring out what the best play is to go for that can hit everything. He still has all 6 Pokemon on the opposing side. Goes out into Salazzle in order to sack it off. Goes for the HJK, does land it and take it out. So now at this point, they still got 5 Pokemon over there though. Sends in Sora, the Azelf, which was already shown to be Scarf. I believe we saw that against something at least. I'm going to switch out into the Crest, and you know that if it's Scarf, it's probably also Trick Scarf. So, yep, there's the Trick. So, either of these Pokemon left, Cinderace or Crest, do not want to be tricked, because when you're facing down 2 versus 5, you want to have all your moves. And so now this Crest is locked into a move, which is not great. And the Sora also now has healing, so that's nice for it. Not too good for Brandon over here, though. Forced to either continue to go for T-Bolt until they die, and then get Cinderace in and basically have it be Cinderace's last stand. They still have their Life Orb intact. Gonna go for the T-Bolt. Gonna pray for a full para here. Don't get the para. As continue to go for T-Bolt. Actually is faster because of the Choice Scarf, and then gets the para. And then it's fully paralyzed. So there it goes. As the Crest now goes down to the Poison finally. And it's Cinderace versus the World. So, does this Cinderace have Gunk Shot? I'm not sure. Yeah, you really need a Gunk Shot to deal with that Azu. If you could have taken that out, then maybe you could have had something here. But also, you really needed Gen 7 or Gen 8 Libero to be active. But if that was the case, Cinderace would be worth way more points. Absolutely. Gonna go for the Zen Headbutt. Gets fully paralyzed, actually, so that's meant that it was going for Ice Shard there. It is now locked into being a Psychic type, which at least means that you don't necessarily want to be a Fire type versus Azu, because then Aqua Jet's just gonna kill you. At this point, though, Bax goes down at least, clawing their way back here. But the Terra Ground Probopass, I'm not sure if there's anything they can do. They're trying to figure out. High Jump Kick has more power than Pyro Ball, but they're going to go for Pyro Ball, maybe get a burn. As Cinderace manages to hang on, actually. Quite impressive. Finally, though, their Paraluck runs out, as now the Pyro Ball misses, and down goes Cinderace. That is going to be GG's to Brandon versus Raymon. All right, here we are with Aprater versus the Notorious H.I.M. We've got some mods. Have we seen Dragalge yet? I feel like we have, maybe, but I cannot remember. We've also got the Vikavolt, the Cetitan, the Ninetales. We got the infamous Phalanx with Weakness Policy, and it's going to be Jirachi with the Mirror. Facing down Holt, and I could not write the rest down, but I'm pretty sure it was Holt, Gyarados. I'm assuming there was a Clef. I know that there's a Lycanroc in there from the thumbnail. We do see the lead Holt here, as Lycavolt's actually gonna just go for the Volt Switch. Be interesting. I thought there might be a Sticky Web, but I guess when you're facing down a potential Clear Body Specs Dragapult, never mind, just instantly takes out the Vikavolt there. So now in comes the Dragalge, which is Ursula. I thought it was Ursula and a Blood Moon for a moment, but they're going to be switch out into Raw Sewage, the Alolan Muck. That's another one of the Pokemon I need to write down here, as their speed's going to drop from the Mud Shot, actually. Now is going to go for the T-Spikes there, so something else will get poisoned as long as they're not flying. Knocks off the Life Orb, so it's not going to be doing nearly as much with this Draco, but it also means they're not going to take any recoil damage here. Looking at the team, at the end of the day, this Lycanroc is looking very powerful into Aprater's team. You've got the Cetitan and the Ninetales, but then you've also got mons that resist it, like Jirachi and Phalanx, but Lycanroc Dusk has some coverage moves like Crunch and Psychic Fangs that can easily hit into those guys. The Draco Meteor does a fair amount to the Cryogonal, which is a pretty decent Spadef wall. Going to switch out here, doesn't want to take any more of that. Goes into this in order to, yep, there's the T-Spikes gone. Like we said, the Levitator was able to ignore the T-Spikes and getting the Poison Type. They're going to go for it once again, though, as T-Spikes are up yet again, although they're just going to have to rinse and repeat. Knockoff doesn't quite get the kill, needs to do a little bit more. Phalanx is now going to come out here. The Weakness Policy, is this going to get knocked off as well, though? Actually withdraws. So Aprater, trying to take advantage of the fact they might switch out, is going to immediately Terra Ghost and go for the no retreat. Um, Not sure what Terra Ghost does for you offensively or defensively, but I know at the very I think does Terra Ghost allow you to switch? I cannot remember whether or not Terra Ghost allows you to switch out. That's a great question. I'd have to check out Bulbapedia for that one, but I think it does. That might be why they're running it. They do go for the Dragon Dance here, as yep, there's the no retreat. So we know that the Gyarados is still going to be faster after this turn, but because of the defense boost on the Phalanx, it does mean that it can take less. If we go for a crunch here into the Phalanx, I'm not sure if it'll kill or not, but it will activate the weakness policy. But they might just be more so. Yep, there's the Waterfall trying to get a flinch. Doesn't even 2 KO. Terra Blast. Is this going to get the KO in return? Nope, not quite. Gyarados is a bulky little mon with the leftovers. So another Terra Blast will take it out as long as we don't see a flinch. Lives on 2 HP, and the Terra Blast in return will take out the Gyarados. So Phalanx still standing tall, but there's still a lot of mons to go through. On H.I.M's side, what are they going to bring out? Oh, Cryogonal, I forgot. We could write that down. I think it was the last mon. I'm trying to remember if they actually had Clef or not. I think I remember seeing it, but I can't remember. Shadow Sneak is going to take out Phalanx at 2 HP. The only way you're preventing that is probably with Terra Normal. As looks like Elsa, the Alolan Ninetales, wants to come out here, as gets up the Snow Warning, and goes for the Moonblast into this thing. Looking at their team, it can hit them decently hard. Pole especially. Nothing really wants to take this. Probably gonna wait, live one turn because of the snow boost. It can be able to live this poison jab, and now after that, then you go for the Aurora Veil to make it last as long as possible. And no, they're actually gonna Baton Pass. I was thinking that they would Aurora Veil to maximize their amount of turns that they use it, and then get O-Code this turn, and then go out into their Titan. But they're actually just gonna Baton Pass out. I guess keeping this around for longer. Goes out into Starfire, though, to take the Poison Jab. So actually goes for the Drain Punch. Gets a crit. Anticipating them to maybe want to switch out. Great play on H.I.M's part. Going for the mid-ground. Switches out here into Flake. The Snowflake Cryogonal, who gets Iron-Headed and immediately killed. So at this point, you're going to want to get in this Titan. This Titan can put in work once it, well, the thing is it can't Terra though anymore. It can probably live maybe one Accelerock in the snow. It has to be in the snow for sure to live an Accelerock. I mean, super effective Tough Claws. I mean, Tough Claws does a lot with Choice Band or Life Orb to Mons. With Accelerock, once you start getting into that super effective, you're talking about Oko-ing Mons from full. Titan is in now. It has to go for, oh, but that's right, they have Ice Shard, so as long as they're in the snow, it can take out the Accelerock or the Lycanroc with Ice Shard. Gonna go down to half, gets its Citrus Berry. This thing is EV'd correctly, so it's gonna go back up. And goes for Ice Shard. I would have thought maybe, seeing as Craggle and Gyarados are both gone, I don't think they have any switch-ins to Earthquake. I think Earthquake would be perfectly acceptable here, but they're gonna go for the raw Ice Shard and still takes it out because it's +6. The Titan is quite the threat. There's the Clef. We weren't having a Mandela effect. That was indeed a Clef, and it only takes half because it's Rocky Helmet Unaware. The Rocky Helmet Unaware has really come in clutch for H.I.M across the course of the season, beating all 3 forms of Ogerpon, essentially, or at least whittling them down a lot. Speaking of whittling down, this is a Titan. Is certainly in range of Accelerock, as Twilight is now going to come out here. They still have their little Ninetales alive, so that's great for them. Goes to the Accelerock there, as now it is gone. I thought maybe they would want to at least sack it off, that way they can get some Ice Shard chip with it, but I guess they're going to keep the Ninetales around for longer. They only have 2 Mons left on H.I.M, so they can't deny it. It's just the Polt and the Lycanroc here. Goes for the Drill Run, though. Yep, there's the coverage. Although I think Crunch, well, I guess Drill Run hits better into their team. It's just not as it's not as accurate as Crunch. Can miss slightly. There's the Accelerock, and down goes the last of Aprater's Mons, I believe. Alright, that was GG's to Aprater versus the Notorious H.I.M. As now we're getting into B-Nard versus Pokemaster. So we got the Hariyama, we got the Captain Gudra on deck, we also got the Polt, not the Polt, Dragapult, the Poltegeist. We've also got Grimace the Grimmsnarl, as well as the, you gotta have the Killo, and the Ogerpon. No hazard removal once again for B-Nard. You know, you've got the Mortal Spin, which can is a bit unique in the fact that it can spin on ghost types, but it can't spin on steel types. But now you can't remove hazards at all. And Pokemaster's shown they like to get up their T-Spikes and their hazards, so this could be quite the threatening situation for B-Nard. As they've also got the Espeon, the Magic Bounce, anything they would want to get up. I'm not even sure that. Yeah, I don't think B-Nard can get up any hazards with this squad that they've got. But on Pokemaster's side, we of course have the Espeon. We've also got the Galarian Weezing. We've also got, I believe, the Sableye. A lot of like support mons over here. But these support mons can be deadly when tuned into the right manner. So we got the Espeon here versus the Hariyama. You can just go for the obligatory fake out. A lot of these Espeons like to be sashed, so it's great to break that right off the bat. And I believe activate the Flame Orb. Yep, there's the Flame Orb. So great first turn for B-Nard here. Gets a lot out of it, but the fact is you got to get out of there because this Espeon can easily kill you with a Psychic or anything like that. Thing is, they don't have a whole lot of switch-ins. Perhaps the Grimmsnarl would be best though, but you want to be careful about Calm Mind, Draining Kiss, and stuff like that. But overall, I mean, it can certainly, I would imagine, live one hit and then be able to get up some screens. So there's Pokemaster. We can write down some more of them on. They've got Meow. Of course, they got to have the mascot Meow, as well as the Iron Shreds to remove those hazards. As it does look like, yep, finally going to choose to go into the Grimmsnarl. Good play on B-Nard's part. As what is this Espeon going to do here? So, we do see the safe Baton Pass switch in. Good play on Pokemaster's part. Get the slow pivot, because they probably imagined that the Hariyama did not want to stay in there. So now they can get some momentum here and pick a appropriate lead or an appropriate switch in for this Grimmsnarl. Probably the Iron Treads, I would imagine. But you could also use Galarian Weezing. Yep, there's Iron Treads, the former Titan. As I don't think we actually put this game at 2x speed yet. I'm so sorry, gang. We are not moving at the proper speed. Alright, now we're cooking with gasoline here. So, last mon Ludicolo on their side. I don't know how I missed over that. So, at this point, you're definitely going to want to get up your screens. Although this Iron Treads is probably going to get up some rocks here. Rocks are great into B-Nard's side. They got a Kilowattrel and an Ogerpon. Neither of them, well, the Ogerpon can't even be boots if it wanted to, but the Kilow's choice spec, so they're going to take 25% of your time. Although the Ogerpon can Terra to try to reduce that. But then that would mean that just Weavile, the Poltegeist, couldn't Terra. So, they got to think about that. Seems like they're going to bring in the Hariyama here to try to take on this Iron Tread. Has a high enough HP stat, it can live some hits. Goes for an Ice Spinner here, as not going to do a whole lot. Not even Thick Fat on this thing, you know, it's Flame Orb, so it's Guts. Now the question is, what are you going to do here? They know that they're fake out, so if they wanted to, they could go Sableye. They might try to predict that, go for a knockoff, knock something's item off. Anytime you can get rid of an item, that's going to be great. So it goes out in a Weezing. Do we see a Rocky Helmet here? It's actually Black Sludge, but removing the recovery from the Weezing is great for B-Nard. Like we said, we've got the Stealth Rocks up, and B-Nard's been doing a lot of switching. So, if they can continue to swap in other mons to have a good situation here, you know, you're not going to want to stay in with this Hariyama, but at the same time, you got to think, well, I don't want to have to switch too many times necessarily, especially in Pokemon. They're going to take 25% chip from hazards. So, looks like they are going to switch into the Killo though. The Weezing is usually physically defensive, so they figure they can take it on with special attacker. Goes with the T-Spikes, and those T-Spikes are up for the rest of the game. So, at this point, you could Terra. That way you aren't going to take 25% shit from hazards. But you can also simply just start firing off, if you predict the Iron Shreds to come in on the electric attack, you can probably take it out with the Terra Blast. But then you are not able to Terra with the Poltergeist. So this is what B-Nard's thinking here. He's going to go for the safe mid ground. He knows Iron Shreds he absolutely knows Iron Shreds is coming in here. So if it goes for the Air Slash, that does a heck of a lot. Like 30-something% actually. And the Kilo is naturally faster than the Iron Shreds here, meaning that it could, in theory, potentially get a flinch. They are locked in though, and if they switch out, then they're going to come in at 50%. So the question is, what are they going to do? Are they going to keep on air slashing and risking it for the biscuit? Because the Iron Shreds, I believe, it already showed Ice Spinner, so if they don't get the flinch here, they're dead. Goes to the Rock Slide. Actually, JK, wow, that Kilo actually, I'm surprised. I'm going to be honest, gang. I did not think it would tank it that well. This must be like max HP, max defense. I don't know, but it's not Spadef because it's taking a lot. Who knows what this Iron Shreds is? I don't know why that Rock Slide didn't do enough. Kilo might just be a little bit naturally bulkier than we all expected, folks. Don't underestimate the bulk of Kilowattrel. In comes the Espeon here, as I don't think we've seen Espeon's item yet, so should they be bluffing the Scarf, or are they screaming, hey, I'm Scarf? Great questions here. The thing is that this Kilo, if it comes in two more times, and it's dead. It can only come in one more time safely, so they're going to continue to go for the air. Yep, there is the Scarf Espeon, indeed, as down goes the Kilo. Reflect actually wears off, but I think I've seen this somewhere before. I think that Psyshock, it's not affected by Reflect. I think it's affected by Light Screen, if I'm not mistaken. So I don't think that Reflect was doing anything for him. Oh, but that's why. That's why the Kilo lived. I always neglect the Reflect, the power of Reflect. So that's why it wasn't physically bulky Kilowattrel. It wasn't zero attack Iron Shreds. It was the fact that Reflect was up. That's why it lived. So apologies on my part as a commentator. As we're catching up to the present here, though, this Grimmsnarl is indeed poisoned. As now we are facing down the Galarian Weezing. So if we look at the game state here, the Kilo is gone, the Iron Shred is gone on the other side, but I think everything else is still intact. But keep in mind, Rocks and T-Spikes are up. So every time another one's going to swish in, then that means more Stealth Rocks and more T-Spikes. Thankfully, at least this Poltergeist was not Focus Sash, but if it was Focus Sash, maybe they'd be inclined to bring some Hazard. So at this point, simply going to go for the Shell Smash. Pokemaster's not here for that, though. He's going to go hard into Sableye. And the first time I saw this, I heard a warning, a red flash in my head that was screaming, hey, I am Prankster Encore. Now, there is a way B-Nard could have gotten around this. You'll notice they are Terra Steel. If they were Terra Dark on this thing, that would have meant that they would have been able to go for, safely go for a move and not have it be, not be Encore, because you're Prankster Dark, and Dark types are immune to Prankster, and instead they're going to get Encore. I believe the Terra Steel might have been to set up easier on the Galarian Weezing, as we saw. That's why they brought it in on the Galarian Weezing. But now this thing is locked in. It's poison. It's going to take rocks, and it's going to take poison the next time it comes in, unfortunately. So now you've got no choice basically but to switch out. As it's such a shame seeing it at +4, +4, +4, but the sad fact of the matter is, even if you were to wait out that Encore, it's just going to go for it again. So you got no choice but to switch out here. You have to before it does any more damage. Sableye actually switches out. Pokemaster was feeling pretty safe. They're going to take advantage of the fact that it was Encore and bring in their Masquerade. Absolutely. Take advantage of the situation anytime you can. They're going to try to go for a fake out, get a little bit of chip on something. Actually brings in the Weezing once again. Still pretty healthy. Gets a crit though. As now they're wondering what they're going to do here. Can easily go for the Strange Steam, I think. Although maybe they bring in the Ogre Pawn onto this thing, but then that would mean and it's going to take Stealth Rocks and T-Spikes. But at the same time, not a whole lot of other switches, just Strange Steam, honestly. It does seem like they're going to sack off the Poltergeist. Probably the safest play if you're thinking about it. Ogerpon at this point is your win con. You want to make sure that thing stays healthy. Goes with Sludge Bomb actually, so at least Poltergeist can stick around for one more turn. Can at least go for like a Shadow Ball. The Shadow Ball hit the best into the... No, I think you got to go for the Terra Blast still because they have the Masquerada. For sure. Actually go for the Shadow Ball. Never mind. ICU comes in though. They know that Sableye was the mon that was going to come in, so that's probably why they felt safe going for Shadow Ball. Potentially going to try to go get a drop. Does not get a drop though. The Steel type, however, is Poison. Quite ironic, although it's because it switched in before it had a chance to Terra. So, gonna go for another Shadow Ball. Doesn't go for a Prankster move this turn. It's a crit though. That's a huge crit. Well, I'm not sure how much it ultimately mattered. I mean, the Sableye, I'm not sure if it had recover or anything, but it took it out there. So the Sableye goes down. It might have been a roll. Let's be honest. It was right around that 50-50 mark. Could have been a roll. Either way, the Poltergeist was dead to poison, but at least it took out the Sableye with it. So now we're trying to figure out what we're going to do here. Honestly, I don't know if we want to get screens up. The Samoa Joe can come in and fake something out at least. But really, what you're trying to do is you need screens and you need Ogerpon. That's basically the way you win this game. In comes Ludicolo, the Peckish, going to take some Stealth Rocks, but at least it's resisted and doesn't have to worry about T-Spikes. So Hariyama doesn't mind being the mon to be brought in on all these hazards. It's kind of laying itself down over the metaphorical fences, the spikes. It's laying itself down for its teammates to take the hazards for them until they absolutely need to be brought in. So it goes to the fake out. This Galarian Weezing just continues to just be chipped bit by bit. In comes the Captain. Are we going to see a Strange Team? Nope, goes for a Sludge Bomb. Not really sure why. All the Pokemon are going to get poisoned anyway. Perhaps, you know what? I know why. Let us not forget that Pokemaster missed a very unfortunate Strange Team previously, so likely scarred by that. They just want to get consistent damage, is what I'm imagining here, especially now that their Steel type is gone. The Terra Steel Poltergeist, they can safely go for Sludge Bomb. Speaking of Sludge Bomb, they go for it into Ludicolo. It's a nice little poison there, so this thing is almost going to be dead. Probably within the next turn, though, just a poison alone. So I'm not sure if you want to... Well, no, you need to keep Hariyama alive, so you might just have to continue to stay in here. I don't want this thing going for a Rain Dance or anything. You could also go Grimmsnarl, maybe. It can take a hit and then get up some screens if you want to keep the Captain relatively healthy, although it's still getting very chipped at this point. At least the Ogerpon is still full. You love to see it. It's been untouched. It doesn't know what all of its teammates have had to suffer through in terms of hazards. Seems to be hovering over Scald, actually. What's he trying to go for there? Goes for the Ice Beam. Can't be frozen, thankfully, because it's a poison Goodra, so that's at least silver lining. As Ludicolo goes down to the Captain, actually. But at what cost? The Goodra is nearing the end of its lifespan here. Oscar is still at full. Goodness, I didn't realize it was still at full. I mean, this thing could be sashed for all we know. Well, I'm not sure. Have we seen that? Maybe it's gone for a U-turn or something like that. Yep, it goes for another U-turn as the Captain goes down here. If I was Pokemaster, I would probably run Scarf Meowscarada, if we're being honest, though, in order to outspeed the Kilo, though. As Espeon now comes in. As it's looking like Grimace might not be that bad of an option at this point. You can get those screens and then start going in with Aku Aku. You could really have something here. You know, Ogerpon is decently bulky, even if it's at 75%. The poison's going to be chipping it down, which only got a few more months to take care of. The Galarian Weezing's chipped. I'm not sure if it's going to die to Ivy Cudgel or not, but if it can, that'd be nice. Weezing actually comes out here. Oh, yeah, at that range, surely it dies to Ivy Cudgel. I'm not sure about its defensive EVs here, but we have a light screen up, and that's something. So it can definitely live a Strange Team if we want to go for it. You can go for a Reflector as well. It's going to last for 8 turns. I would really try to get that Reflect up, honestly, for that Meowscarada. and then try to die here, and then bring in the Ogerpon. That's basically your only way to win at this point. Goes for the Sludge Bomb. Perfect. You want to get out of there as soon as possible. One more turn and you're down. So now at this point, just try to go for some chip on something. I think I might have gone for a Spirit Break just to kind of get the guaranteed reduction. Also covers for a potential switch. But they're going to go for the Sucker Punch, get some nice chip. Although maybe they were thinking that the Galarian Weezing might outspeed them and they wanted to get guaranteed chip because when they were going for those moves before, it was Prankster. But Galarian Weezing's pretty slow too, so not sure who would win in that case. But the Grimmsnarl's gone. Aku Aku finally comes in. And what is its moveset? Swords Dance, Trailblaze. That's exactly the position you want to be in here, really. Goes for an Ivy Cudgel. Does not want to take any more excessive chip at this point, as now the Galarian Weezing goes down. The Espeon was shown to be Scarf, so even if they were to go for a Trailblaze into an Ivy Cudgel there, still risking a potential speed tie. And at this point, barring a Focus Sash Meowscarada, I can't remember what it was, but at this point they're not looking too bad. Although they are poisoned, it is tough. It is a tough position to be in. As the Espeon, they still haven't. I believe this is their Terra Captain. So if there was ever a time to Terra on Pokemaster's side, now is the time. We have seen Envy put in the work with Terra Fairy Espeon. This is actually going to be a Terra Rock Espeon, funnily enough. Goes with a Stab Power Gem though now, and that is going to be taken out with a crit. I think I calced it before. I'm not sure that killed. I'm not sure if it ultimately mattered at the end of the day, because with Terra Rock, although they did go for knockoff, that would mean that they would definitely live the hit though. If I'm not mistaken, and then be able to. Although, ooh, we do see a Drain Punch here. We're still in this thing, folks. B-Nard's not out. Don't count him out. As now the Meowscarada is able to come in at this point. And the question is, what's going to happen here? Is it going to go for the Drain Punch? Up goes to the Flower Trick, and that is going to bypass the screen, though, is the key thing. As now Hariyama goes down, and that's going to be GG's to Captain B-Nard and Pokemaster. Alright folks, so here we have Almond versus Scorpion. Now at this point, because of how far down Almond was in the rankings, Scorpion and them mutually decided to try to have a little fun match here. So ultimately it doesn't matter for playoffs, because at the end of the day they both decided that no matter what, Scorp was going to win. But they wanted to have some fun, use some meme sets, so this is kind of just a fun interlude here. Sorry I had the time bar there. They lead Golden Go versus the Thunderous Therian, actually. And you can look at this set. It has Lash Out, Acrobatics, Fly with a Power Herb. So they're going to go for the Lash Out here. Is going to fling the Iron Ball, which now means that... Well, I don't think it's slower because it already has an iron. Can just go for Lash Out. Goes for the Thief. Takes its Power Herb, so now it can't even go for Power Herb Fly. But now it means it can go for the Acrobatics. So Ogerpon comes in here. Takes a decent amount of chip, I won't even lie. They do have the Stockpile Spit Up Torterra over there, just chilling. And they're wondering what else they're going to want to go for. We do see the Scarf Fleet. Oh wait, no, that's not Scarf Fleet. Oh wait, no, it's I think it's has some as a throat spray. You've never seen a Cleavor set like this. You have throat spray, so they can start stockpiling up here if they want to. I need to write down some of Scorpion's mons. So of course we have Torterra, and then we have Thundy, and then we have Cleavor. We have the Gulpin. You're gonna see that set in a minute. We have Salamence over here versus this this Torterra, which is setting up with lefties as it continues to set up. Goes for Protect, gonna get some nice little HP back. As it actually goes for Roar, bypasses the Protect. It's always nice. As a communication error, nice. So they're gonna reset here and go for Protect again. As gonna roar it out. We didn't see what it was gonna get roared out into though. What is it going to be? Is it going to be? I think my Mandela effect. Yep, or Choreo. not the Mandela effect, but my long-term memory was able to recall that Oricorio Pom-Pom was the one that comes in here. SD Trailblaze is the set, very interesting. We also got, I believe, last one, Chatterine for Scorpion. And now at this point, if you try to set up anymore, you're going to get rolled out. Goes for Dragon Bear. It does about 1,000,000,000%, I won't even lie. Has a +1 Trailblaze. It can endure at this point. We've been seeing a rise. When did Custap Berry get released? I'm trying to remember. I know at the very least, in current draft leaves, we've seen a rise in Endure Custap, but this is going to be an Endure set. Almond doesn't care about that. They say, Roar, get out of my face, buddy. I see that you set up a stat, and I think that's interesting, and I'm going to roar you out instead. So there you go. We've got this Hyper Beam Terra Normal Gulpin. Are they going to try to show off the strat now or save it for later is the question. In the meantime, I need to write down more of Almond's Mons. So I got Golden Go and Salamence. I feel like, no, we've seen Ogerpon. As Oricorio goes down. Not like that thing was doing that much noise. We got a special Salamence with Moxie. Absolutely useless, but that's just the type of strats we love to see in these Fajita type battles. As now in comes the Gulpin. And it's going to go indeed for the Hyper Beam here, trying to get a big hit off. Now, Almond probably sees this and sees a Poison type and thinks, well, I think I have a safe switch into my Poison type. Very low on HP, by the way, almost dead. This Gulpin is going to try to go for this Terra Normal Choice Specs Hyper Beam, but unfortunately, it's just not going to do anything to this Golden Go. Now, Torterra is going to try to come in. Golden Go might try to recover, it might try to Shadow Ball, we'll see what it wants to do here. Goes for Fling actually, flings the power up, does absolutely nothing, because once you start getting away from Iron Ball and Big Nugget, Fling just does not do that much, but it is going to steal its leftovers. So now it's stealing its leftovers, and going to steal them and continue to fling them. Quite the interesting set, as you can continue to go for Fling repeatedly. Unfortunately, it just seems that like Fling is just not going to do anything, like we said, unless you have like a Toxic Orb. Maybe you can at least poison them, but long term it's not going to do as much. Earth Power into the Rabombi does get poisoned. This does, speaking of Toxic Orb, does have a Toxic Orb. As seems like my memory is starting to recall things from the battle and saying them ahead of time. Although that's happening without me knowing it subconsciously. So, this Rabombi's poison. But there's the switcheroo. I was going to say, if you're going to have a Toxic Orb, you got to have some way to get it to the other side. Goes for Spit Up, does a decent amount, but now its defenses are dropped. And continues to get poisoned though. This Rabombi is almost dead. Gotta write that down, by the way. They have the Rabombi. Goes for Facade, does absolutely nothing. This Torterra continues to set up. It is poisoned, so it's not going to be able to stick around forever. The Rabombi does finally die with some poisoning though. As now, yep, Torterra gets getting chipped. What is the next Pokemon going to be? I believe I have 4 written down for them. I need the last 2 for Almond's side. Let me see if I can try to recall. I believe one of them should be Grafai. After that, I can't remember. This Torterra is continuing to get chipped by poison, like we said. Has some stockpile, but it's just not going to do a whole lot here. This is still at 2x speed. But even then, goes for the Air Slash. Do we get a flinch? Yep, I knew it. Subconsciously, some part of me just knew that this Torterra was getting flinched and then dying to poison. So, question is, what are they going to do now? Interesting that the Pokemon, even after they faint, they still have the items on them. You can see the Oricorio with its berry that it never ever got to use. Thinking about going for the Smackdown, it would seem. Instead is going to go for the Acrobatics. The safe, stab, strong, base 110 power move. Just to do as much damage as possible. Question is, can we finally get the last Pokemon on Almond's side? If I think about Almond's draft, what Pokemon? I know that I don't think they have Mew. Golden comes out here, it goes for the Acrobatics, it's going to take it out. Down goes Amon. So at this point, Bombi's dead. In comes Grafai, like we said. Now what are you going to do here? Goes for Acrobatics, does 1,000,000,000%. Goes for Terra Blast though. and Stab Terra Blast will take out the Thundurus. So now they're running out of Pokemon, not gonna lie on Scorpion's side, but the Golden Go's gone, so if you wanted to, you can go for Hyper Beam, but they're probably going to save that for last. They're going to go out and Cleavor in the meantime, trying to make use of this set. Actually goes for Prankster Rest, although I'm trying to remember, there was a whole debate in my head about whether or not this was Prankster or Unburden. And I think, if I'm not mistaken, it might just be Unburden because it used its berry. I'm going to go for the Nasty Plot here because it's super fast. Goes for Air Slash. And we might see here on a turn, if this Cleavor goes for Vacuum Wave and it's faster, then that means that this Grafai. Well, then again, if it doesn't go for status move, I guess might not matter. Goes for Sleep Talk though, and it's gonna go for the Terra Blast. Another Air Slash is gonna come off. I believe that's boosted by Sharpness, if I'm not mistaken. So it's doing a decent chunk. That +1 goes from the Sleep Talk, continues to, gets a Nasty Plot there. That's kind of shisty. Air Slash almost kills it though. You can go for the Vacuum Wave, but this will 100% determine whether or not this mon was Prankster or Unburden here. If they can get maybe a Prankster Sleep Talk, then that could be fire. I can't remember though if that happens or not. My subconscious will not allow me to recall any other details. Yep, nope. Vacuum Wave takes out the Grafai, and that settles. I'm not even sure if Prankster Sleep Talk would work. I'm assuming it would, but unclear. Either way, Grafai goes down, which now means that this Cleavor is sitting in a decent position. But the Salamence is probably going to come in and just Dragon Breath. Yep, in comes the Salamence. This Cleavor has a decent amount of HP. Oh, we see the last Pokemon I just saw. It's Slowking. How could we forget the Slowking? Alright, so Slowking is there. Misses the Air Slash. How unfortunate. Actually goes for a Roar. Once again, Almond saw a boost, and they're like, nope, we're not having any of that. So, in comes the Swalot. No questions asked. I'm gonna go for the Hyper Beam here. You might as well try to. The Bow Ride Show here. Specs Terra Normal Hyper Beam into the Salamence here. They've also got switch-ins like Ogerpon and Slowking though, so not really a whole lot of mons that can necessarily, yep, and it misses anyways. Resisted hit. But because it missed, it's free to, it doesn't have to worry about recharging and switch out if it wants to. As seems like they might want to go into Baraka, probably just to sack this thing off. But you have to imagine what type of heat set this Ogerpon has. As it's going to go for the Spiky Shield. Well, you know, that's decently standard enough. Compared to Bug Buzz, Air Slash Cleavor, and immediately it's just going to take it out. Wow, must have been a pretty slow Ogerpon to get outsped by a Cleavor. So now Salamence comes in and going to Air Slash again. There goes the Dragon Breath, almost takes it out, but does get the para. Is it going to be the full para? No full para, does connect, does absolutely nothing. Salamence is a decent amount of bulk, it's pseudo legendary, so Cleavor is going to go down, meaning that all that Scorpion has left is Gulpin and Hatterene, and they are once again going to try to get this Hyper Beam off. Now that the resisted mon Ogerpon is dead, they can try to go for the Hyper Beam here into the Slowking. Can they connect? They do connect finally with a Hyper Beam. How much does it do? Well, that's a lot of damage. I won't even lie. That's pretty satisfying seeing that do that much to a Slowking. They do have to recharge. They are going to get some recovery actually with a Drain Punch. So you can tell with a Citrus Berry, this thing is likely Belly Drum. If they do Belly Drum, they are going to take a lot of, they're going to go down by 50%. They actually just still go for the Drain Punch. Trying to get some more recovery to keep them out of range after they Belly Drum. They're going to go for the Draining Kiss here. And if they can Draining Kiss and keep them out of range of Belly Drum, then they can be all set here. Is faster, it goes for a crit. Although, you can imagine another world even where it didn't crit, this Slowking Belly Drummed, and then it goes to Liquidation. Does a fair amount that the Draining Kiss would have probably killed after it was that low from the Belly Drum chip. Continues to get some recovery though. Now, at this point, all that Almond has left is the Salamence, and all that Scorpion has left is the Gulpin and the Hatterene. And at this point, of course, all you have to do really is just Draining Kiss and end the game from there. I believe the Salamence has, what does it have? Dragon Breath, Air Slash, some other stuff. So at this point, I believe is where they were texting back and forth. Air slash, oh, that does a lot. I won't even lie. Agility up as it goes for the mystical fire, just to try to lessen the amount that this thing is going for. Actually, still outspeeds it, gets a crit. Didn't matter there though. As Hat goes down, the +2 speed. Hatterene's so slow that did not matter, unfortunately. This silences a lot of speed. Base 100. And go for the Hyper Beam to try to finish it off. Goes for an Air Slash. Goes for Hyper Beam and dodges. At this point, I think I might have just roared in order to try to make sure that this thing could still get off its Hyper Beam here. But they're just going to go for the Dragon Breath and take out the Gulpin. Oh wait, I've been saying Gulpin this entire time. It's Swallow. I'm so sorry, Scorpion. But at this time, so technically in the battle, Almond won that 1-0, but they had already decided ahead of time, like, hey, Hatterene, all I had to do was Draining Kiss. And so, for week 6, yeah, it was decided that Scorpion was going to take that 2-0, just because he was just trying to meme. And they both bought meme sets for a reason, you know, they were trying to have fun. So at the end of the day, though, the game didn't ultimately matter, but they were just trying to have some meme sets, see some fun strats, have a good time. And yeah, let's get into the final game, I believe. Alright, and so here we are with Biradu versus Icy Dude, an epic showdown versus two very solid coaches. From Biradu's side, we've got the Rain plus the Barraskewda. We've also got the Wo-Chien, live Wo-Chien reaction. But on Icy Dude's side, we've got mons like Donphan, Toxapex, Chi-Yu, and there goes. I'm going to try to write these down for memory. So we've got Chi-Yu, we've got Donphan, we've got Electrodesui, that helps me out. We've got Wo-Chien on Biradu's side. At this point, what do you want to do in this first turn? I mean, you can't really Leech Seed in front of this thing, but from Icy Dude, you might try to Volt Switch out. You can probably just go for the safe knockout. It seems like Biradu kind of wants to protect just to scout what they want to go for. As, yep, there's the safe Volt Switch. So, Biradu's side has Barraskewda. Yeah, I've also got Pelipper. We can see the rest. Garchomp, Scizor, and Braviary, Hisui. And then Icy Dude's remaining Pokemon: Chi-Yu, Donphan, Electrodesui, Ting, Lu. We got Annihilate, the never dying Annihilate. The mascot themselves is going to get Leech Seed here. As yeah, the Leech Seed was safe, they're probably going to either switch out or Volt Switch. As yeah. Don't really want to take a CC here, though. They could also tear a Poison to try to tank it. They're actually going to end up switching out here into the Chi-Yu. As Let Us Leave is going to switch out as well. And to go to the Pelipper. This Chi-Yu can still go for Dark Pulse, but if you bring in the Wo-Chien, at least the Flamethrower is mitigated by the Rain, and you resist the Dark Pulse either way. So, in the meantime, I'm trying to remember what the last mon on Icy Dude's team was. Chi-Yu, Donphan, Electrodesui, Ting-Lu, and Annihilate. I guess we'll have to see what the last mon is when we see it. So, in comes the Wall of China, the big pecs. Oh, I didn't write down Toxapex. I can't believe that. I thought I wrote it down. Okay, yeah, Toxapex. So, you're in a great position to knock off here. Gonna tear a Poison, actually. Don't want to get Baneful Bunkered. Don't want to get just regular Toxic, I guess. Poison Jabbed or anything. As there goes the Terra for Biradu. Knocks off the Rocky Helmet. That's good to get rid of. Yep. And dodge the Toxic there. Wo-Chien not being Toxic is great for Biradu. Can easily go for the Leech Seed here. Do we see? Yep, there's the Donphan. So now its Sturdy is also broken by Leech Seed. Absolutely massive. You know, a lot of times they were on heavy duty boots, so even if you were trying to get up, that did a lot of, gave them a lot of HP. Big root. A lot of times the Donphans are on heavy duty boots, so they don't take any damage from rock. So the only way to chip them down is to U-turn or get off Leech Seed like that instantly when it's coming in. Goes for Protect, goes for the knockoff. Is going to continue to now get chipped by this Leech Seed, although it does reveal itself to actually be lefties. So that's probably why Icy Dude felt like they could send it in, because it's like, well, if I take a little bit of chip, I can have leftovers to bring me back to full. But at least she's doing a lot. So you're going to want to get out of there into Never Dying the Annihilate. Good for Giga Train. I believe Last Respects is going to be boosted now, though, so you're going to want to watch out. You don't resist it anymore. And if we take a look at Biradu's team, they actually don't have any switch-ins at all to this. Did I say Last Respects? I meant, what's it called? Rage Fist. So the Rage Fist is boosted. As now, like I said, there's no switch-ins. This thing has been taunted, and it wants to get out, but it doesn't really have anybody it wants to send in. All its other Pokemon are mainly its attackers. You don't want to send in any of these guys, really. The only one you want to risk getting HP on is Pelipper, but even then you don't want to risk it that much. Seems like they're willing to risk the Scizor, as admittedly it does not do much versus their team. So probably overall good play for Biradu. As you look at the opposing team, you got Donphan, you got Shiyu, you got Electrode, Toxapex. Scizor does absolutely nothing in this game, so having it be the sacrificial pawn here is not a bad idea for Biradu. As Pelipper is now going to come in and get the rain back up for the Barraskewda. Takes a Rage Fist, though. Takes it pretty well. You know, it's only 100 base power at this point, so it's not too bad. But the U-turn, U-turn's going to boost it. But if they can, probably going to get outsped. Get the slow U-turn out. They're actually going to double out. They don't want to risk a Hurricane. Going to send in Pex. The Rocky Helmet's been knocked off, so you don't have to worry about that. Barraskewda can come in and force a switch. They can also send a Mixerdo. Although, honestly, the Braviary is not looking too shabby either. Because you've got the rain set up. And Hurricane is boosted by Sheer Force. And not only that, because it's Sheer Force Life Orb, think about this as a Landorus incarnate, if you will. With Life Orb, Sheer Force. Basically just as strong. I mean, pretty much. In comes the Camouflage. I personally... Oh, they go for an Agility, actually. Now, they've Terra, so they can't Terra this thing. They are going to go for the Hurricane. Look at how much damage this thing does, but Stone Edge is almost going to take it out, but not quite. 100% accurate Hurricanes. They can keep going for it. I'm not sure if the Agility was necessary there, but maybe they felt like they could do it. Goes for another Hurricane there. I guess they wanted to Hurricane or Agility up in case they sent in Shiyu, because at this point Dark Pulse is easily going to take it out, so not a bad idea. Although the Shiyu has like base 120 Spadef, so I'm not even sure if Stab, Sheer Force, Life Orb, Hurricane takes that or not. But you can see how much it did to Tinglu, so it might dang near kill. In the meantime, though, let's see. Tinglu is down, which is excellent for Biradu's side. Although what they really need to get rid of is this Pexy Toxapex. Once this Pex goes down, it is lights out for Icy Dude, and they know that. They do not want to let this thing get chipped, but they're going to actually go out into Chiyu. I think they did a bit of a misplay here. You really only need to get chip on this Pex before you can start slamming with Banded Liquidations and Rain. So I think a Hurricane, 100% accurate, would have been just fine. Honestly, you don't have a chance to confuse because of the sheer force, but it would have done a heck of a lot, and I think you could have lived any hit. And especially knowing that they could just easily go out and Chiyu, I really think Hurricane was the best play there. But either way, the Braviary lives to see another day. I still have the Pelipper. Goes to the Dark Pulse, doesn't do a whole lot actually. The natural bulk of this this lettuce, I'm not sure what that item that Chiyu is. It doesn't appear to be Specs. I feel like Specs would have done way more. Might be Scarf, might be Boots. Continues to go for Dark Pulse, gets a crit though. Oof, that does a lot. That does a lot. But because of the Leech Seed and the Big Root, it is going to take quite a bit of chip and get quite a bit of recovery. As they continue, I would just Protect here, honestly. Probably the best play, right? Just Protect. Oh, but they're going to go risk it for the Biscuit. Get the Leech Seed off on the Donphan. Great plays by Biradu. They've conditioned Icy Dude into thinking that they would Protect, and they went for the double Leech Seed. A risky play, but you can see how well it paid off. You can see just how much HP this Wo-Chan's getting from that Donphan, that high HP stat. Drizzle is going to be set back up here. As yeah, Donphan doesn't get a whole lot of that turn, gets a little bit of leftovers, but then the Leech Seed just continues to sap away his HP. As Hurricane, yeah, pretty decent. If you can get some chip on the Pex, but what you really want is some Hazard at this point. Although Donphan being around doesn't mean the Hazard gets spun away, but Donphan gets really chipped if you can get rid of it. I'm not sure if they have Hazards on Garchomp, but it'd be cool if they did. Leech Seed continues to go off. And at this point, no need to predict, just go for the safe Hurricane. The rain is really coming through for Biradu, being able to just fire off these Hurricanes. Such a strong move, and when it's 100% accurate, that's when it begins to teeter over the edge of brokenness. It's 70% accurate for a reason. Base 110 flying move, very spammable in the rain. As now the Wo-Chien comes back out. The Electro Sui is finally going to get its Terra off. Alright, sorry folks, technical difficulties. Had to deal with my cat for a second, but we are back. Terra Blast Ice into the Wo-Chien, go for the safe play. Leech Seed into another Terra Blast. I believe this thing was at, gets a crit. Oof, I'm trying to remember. Can we just rewind real quick how much the first one did? So, what was that, 96, 98? Do we get the instant replay on that? 96, yep. So 96 to 45 means that did more than 45. So that means the next one, the crit, likely did not matter unless it was some type of min-max roll. That's what I had in my head. Either way, though, the Sizzle can actually do something now, because now this Mon is weak to Bullet Punch. Although you are inviting in the Toxapex. At this point, Kachow's not a bad Pokemon here. If you can easily just flip turn out. The Rocky Helmet's been knocked off. Flip turn is kind of a no-lose move here. If you just want to go for that. Annihilate probably almost dies to it. I think it's been chipped. I mean, Rain with the Choice Band. But it seems like they actually want to go for Liquidation. Indeed is going to switch out into the Wall of China. How much does this do? Trying to get a defense shot, doesn't get it. I think Flip Turn probably would have gotten more out of that turn, because now they have to hard switch out into their into Chile here. Who yep, there's the recover. At least they got a free turn about it. Although this thing is getting back to full. So the question is, will they continue to go for Hurricane? Yep, there's the Hurricane. It's a $1,000,000%. Imagine if they would have gone for it the first time. Oh man. I really wish they would have gone for Hurricane the first time into this Toxapex, because then I think it would have been lights out. But either way, still looking not too shabby here. Wait, did the Pelipper die? Did we miss that? I haven't been taking notes, it would seem, on what Pokemon are left. I have Icy Dude's accurate, but we know that Wo-Chien's dead. Psychic Fangs is going to go into this Annihilate and smoke it out. Surprised as Drug Nemo comes in. I think they might have gone that first, but they probably didn't want to bring a hard in. No, the goat's still alive, bro. The goat's still alive. Although Braviary Sui is now dead. As now, let's see what's going to happen here. It seems like my cat sees something out there. Perhaps a squirrel on the tree or something. Oh, it's going to hear another yowl again. Trying to go for that door. But this game's almost over, and then I'll let it out. Alright, yeah, sorry again. My cat couldn't wait. But we do see the switch out now into the Barraskewda, back into it to be able to get off that nice and powerful liquidation here. Oh, gonna go for the flip turn actually, make the safe play. Drug Nemo finally goes down. Down goes the Chiyu. The writing is on the wall. As it's just down to the Electrode and the Toxapex. And at this point, Mixerdo is going to come in. I believe that is a Yachi Berry. Thing is, I don't think that's necessarily the best player, because Terra Blast Ice is not like Hidden Power. You know, if it was Hidden Power Ice, maybe with a lot of investment, Yachi Berry could live. But 80 base power, not only that, the fact that it's stab too, the fact that it's stab, it's not going to live that hit, bro. So Yachi Berry Garchomp goes down. But it's still the Scizor. The game is a lot closer than you might thought it was going to be. But Barraskewda is able to come in now, and it can easily continue to start spamming liquidation. The Toxapex was chipped, but it's probably going to come in, if it was at 40, maybe it's at 70 right now. Goes for it can go. It can afford to go for Psychic Fangs now. Now that Chiu's gone, it's gonna be able to 2-hit KO it. Yeah, this Electro is definitely specs, based on the fact of how much damage it did to Wo-Chien. So it's locked into the the Aftermath is gonna bring it so close. Oh my goodness, how much HP is Barraskewda at? Is the question. Because if this thing had taken any more, how much is that? 18, yeah, exactly. I don't know if that was a matter of rolls or not, but yeah, Psychic Fangs does, however. Wait, why was that Toxapex so low? I didn't realize that. Okay, never mind. It was at maybe it was at like 35 and maybe even 30, and then it went to 60. Either way, that is going to be the game. That's going to be GG's, and then all we have left is one more game to go over, which is the best game. All right, gang, real quick before we get into the footage here, just want to show us so that the camera can see, just in case for posterity, in case for whatever reason the Google Drive, the Google Excel sheet goes down, we have this as a record. So for Dabest and Lionel, we can see that Delphox got a massive 3 kills. Sneasler also put in some work. While the Conkeldurr, Bronzong, T-Tar, and Regieleki all got 1 kill respectively. But we do see that Lionel actually lost that game 2-0 to Dabest. Meanwhile, Arcaniner versus just Weavile, actually. Arcaniner had a big game with Iron Jagulus getting 3 massive kills. Ampom and Arcanine also getting in some work. Meanwhile, Lando, T, Darkrai, and Electros each got 1. Heracross and Bundle were not able to do anything. So let's get into our footage and see exactly what happened in the best game. Alright, so Dabest versus Lionel here. We actually got the first 30 seconds of the battle here, starting at the battle screen. Very nice timing by Dabest to get that last 30 seconds. So, the lead Sneasler versus the Volcarona, and what does this have? He's got the Rock Slide right off the rip, and just immediately Rock Slide connects into Volcarona. Folks, I'm not sure if I've ever seen that myself. Great prep by Dabest. I didn't even know this thing got Rock Slide, but you know, when you got coverage, you got to use it. So next up, we got some spikes here. Apparently, the Sandstorm got up at some point. Spikes are up for Dabest as the Ice Spinner comes out. Actually, oh, great prep by Lionel. Lives on 1 HP. Oh my goodness, the Sandstorm subsides. Ah, the Poison keeping it alive. Can we see what happens in this next encounter? We get the recovery. The wish came true from Sectonia. We get the poison heal as well. Can this Regieleki? I think there's only one way to take out the ground type, and that is you explode on them. How much is it gonna do though? It takes it out 250 base power, but at what cost? At what cost? You took out the ground type, but now what you really need is some revival blessing. But that move's banned, and I don't think they even have access to it. So. Looks like somebody's going to Terra here. Who's it going to be? It's the Delphox from the best side, actually. Terra Fairy, one of the best Terras for it. Probably one of the best Terras in all of Draft, or if being honest. Versus the Pheasantipity, actually kind of risky. Got to make sure you get this kill. But the Psyshock hitting on the physical side will absolutely take out the Pheasantipity. Great prep by Dabest. Let's see if we can get some other footage. I know that this thing got 3 kills. Conkeldurr comes in. The Terra Poison. I have a feeling this might be where it gets its 1 kill. We see the Flamethrower. How much does it do? It almost takes out, but not quite. Lionel hanging on with 1 HP or near 1 HP. Poison Jab is going to take out the Delphox. Ooh, this is hype. What a hype game. That's going to be GG's. Be sure to like, comment, subscribe. We'll see you guys in the next one.